There we go. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having an absolutely phenomenal Monday. We are officially in the first full week of May, right? So getting our next month started. We're kind of right smack dab in that middle of the second quarter. So we're going to be really excited because you're going to see a couple things that are happening this month. One of those being we're going to have some great tallied up information around how many of you guys won tickets for our second quarter competition. So you're going to want to keep an eye on that, my friends. I want to jump right into our market update this morning, and then there's a couple things that I wanted to just make sure to mention to you guys. One, if you have clients that live in Downey, right, that are renters currently, or that are landlords that are seeking some type of rental assistance, Downey does have a rental assistance, COVID-19 emergency rental assistance program that is kind of going around right now. So I am going to post that in the chat box for you, because that is a great program that you're going to want to share out with your clients as well. It's for those that reside in the city of Downey. There's going to be some program eligibility guidelines that are available there, but it is available for those that are needing some support because of what is happening right now with COVID-19 or as a result of the pandemic. So I wanted to make sure that I drop that in the box for you guys as well. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to go right into our market update this morning. All right, thumbs up if you guys can see my screen. Beautiful, awesome. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So first of all, looking at our showing ratio. So we know light blue line is our 2019 baseline. We have the dark blue, which is the anomaly that was 2020. And here we are with our gold line for 2021. As we've been anticipating, it looks like we're starting to see a little bit of this stabilization right here, right? We were kind of on an upward trajectory here. We saw a dip during that Easter holiday weekend, and now we're kind of right back to where we were. Of course, from conversations with all of you, we're still seeing, multiple showings. Most buyers are still seeing quite a few more properties than they were at the same time during our baseline year, right? It's taking quite a few more viewings to go ahead and get those offers in, and that just has to do with the competition as well as limited inventory that we're seeing in the market. Overall, when we look at 2021 in comparison to our baseline, we are up 100.2% in showings in 2021 within that last kind of 7-day period. And this was as of May 1st. Right, let's go ahead and jump into our price trends. And I want you guys to kind of notice a couple of things that we're going to be looking at with prices. So we're obviously seeing that last week when we looked at this data, we saw trends from a price perspective that we've trended upward in almost every category. Where we saw a little bit of that limitation was in specifically on the inventory side, right? As we looked at inventory in San Bernardino County, we saw that our sold inventory was a little flat. We anticipated that would be changing in the next couple of weeks. So I want you guys to keep an eye on that as we kind of go through these numbers, because we did see the start of that flip. So we'll take a look at that as well. But starting off with Los Angeles County pricing trends, within the last week, under contract pricing was at $725,000 on average. Our sold pricing was at $735 on average. New inventory at $749 on average. As we're looking at these trends of the last 12 weeks compared to the 12 to 24 weeks prior, we are looking at under contract being up 4.4%. That's over $30,000, right? So we're seeing properties going under contract about $30,000 higher in the last 3 months compared to the 3 months prior. Sold up 5.4%, up over $36,000. New inventory up 6.4% at the highest increase, up 44,245.40 at $5. So we're seeing pricing has increased across the board. Of course, we know what happens, right? As properties begin to go under contract higher because of that competition and properties are selling higher, we're seeing that begin to support comparables for new inventory being priced higher as well. With our inventory trends, we saw 1,232 homes come on the market within the last week in Los Angeles County. 1,273 homes sold in Los Angeles County within the last week, which was a slight increase, pretty even from the previous week. And finally, new inventory coming on the market. 1,168 properties on the market in Los Angeles County within the past week. As we look at some of these inventory trends, so as we know, as the under contract goes up, which we've seen over the past few weeks, sold will continue to follow. We know we're still dealing with the after effects of some of this holiday time period, right, towards the end of the year, where we saw under contract decrease, which has affected our sold. But as under contract is up 34.4%, we have 34.4% more properties going under contract now than in the 12 to 24 weeks prior. Sold is following, and we're going to continue to see this sold number increase, but sold is up 8.3% in Los Angeles County. New inventory is up 34.3% in Los Angeles County. So again, we are seeing, even though we're seeing slight declines here, overall, as we're looking at the trends of the last 12 weeks, we are seeing more inventory come on the market. Now, we know that second and third quarter, right, tend to be where we see the highest influx of inventory traditionally, with the exception of obviously the anomaly that was 2020. We saw a little bit of that pent-up demand get released in the first quarter of the year, where we saw, our own listings increase as well by 62.5%. So we're kind of seeing that continue on with the market. We're going to want to continue to watch this, but this is a great time to make sure that you are getting into conversation with your sellers, right? And leveraging some of the programs that you have available to offer them a seller solutions program, whether that be the bridge program or potentially an iBuyer program, to limit some of that inconvenience of all the showings that we're seeing right now. We know properties are selling very, very quickly, and these high prices are continued to be supported by the market. Now, looking at our Orange County pricing trends, Orange County median under contract price within the last week, $850,000. Median sold price was at $874,000, and median new inventory pricing at $875,000. Again, when we look at our under contract being up 5.8%, properties in Orange County are being priced approximately a little bit more than $46,000 higher, going under contract in the last 12 weeks. Sold up 7.3%. Properties are selling about a little bit more, almost $58,000 higher in the last 12 weeks compared to the 12 to 24 prior. And new inventory is being priced about 6.8% higher. That accounts for about almost $55,000 higher in the last 12 weeks as well. So obviously higher price point, these percentages account for higher numbers in Orange County. As we start looking at our inventory, we had 771 homes go under contract in Orange County within the last week. 788 homes sold in Orange County within the last week, and 587 homes on the market within the last week in Orange County. As we start looking at some of that percentage increase, under contract is up 34.8% in Orange County, up 15.4% in sold. So we'll continue to see that go up as our under contract continues to kind of stay up there as well. And new inventory is up 35%, right? So a pretty significant increase that we're seeing in that new inventory coming on the market as well. Riverside, right? Going into some of our lower price point counties in Riverside, Under contract pricing stood pretty steady at 479,000, sold at 480,000, and new at 480,000 within the last week as well. Not too much of a change from the previous week. And yet, as we look at the trends here, we can see under contract is up 4.4%. Properties are going under contract a little bit less than 20 grand higher within the last 12 weeks. Sold is up 3.1%. Properties are selling about $14,000 higher within the last 12 weeks. And we are up 6.9% pricing on new inventory. Properties are being priced about $30,000 higher in the last 12 weeks than they were 12 to 24 weeks ago as well. So again, we're seeing that pricing continue to be supported now that we've covered 3 of our counties so far. And in our inventory, right, we're seeing the same kind of levels of a little bit of dip from the previous week, and yet an increase overall when we start looking at our trends. Under contract, 597 properties came on the market in Riverside, or came under contract in Riverside County this past week. 602 properties sold within the past week, and 556 new properties on the market within the past week, a decrease from the previous week. And yet we're seeing that trend kind of remain up. Trending, we are up 27% in under contract properties, which has started to drive this sold price up. I anticipate we'll continue to see this sold number increase. It's currently at 6.3%. So about 6.3% more sales in the last 12 weeks compared to the 12 to 24 prior. And new inventory up 32.7%. So we are seeing those listings continue to come on the market. Now moving on over to San Bernardino. All right, as we look at San Bernardino County was priced at about $399,000 for properties going under contract within the last week in San Bernardino County. Properties that sold at about $415,000, and new inventory sold at about 400, or is on the market at $430,000 across San Bernardino County, that median price for the past week. As we start looking at some of the trends here, so I do want to note right here, we're seeing a couple different things as we look at the county. So let me go back really quickly. As we look at Riverside, we can see our under contract and our sold are pretty even, right? And that's supporting a pretty even pricing here, 479, 480, 480, right? As you look at Orange County, under contract at 850, sold 874, and new at 875. This is a bigger spread from our under contract to our sold. This is from properties that were under contract, right? 30, 45 days ago is what we start looking at here. So I want to know, as we start looking at San Bernardino, right? This 399, 415, we've got a little bit of a spread here as well. So when we see that sort of spread, we know when we're looking at our under contract price, right? That's what is going under contract right now. That's what we anticipate what's going to start informing our sold pricing. This sold pricing being a little bit higher, we'll monitor this, and we want to keep an eye on this, but sold pricing being a little higher, that's a little reminiscent of what was going under contract about 30, 45, 60 days ago, depending on where those escrows were at as well. So we'll keep an eye on this, because this also will have an impact as sold. If the sold number decreases, right, and comparables go down, that's where we see new inventory pricing change as well. So just wanted to point that out for you guys as we're looking at some of that pricing in San Bernardino County. Under contract up 2.3%. That accounts for about a $9,000 increase in under contract pricing. Sold up 3%. That's about a $12,000 spread. Properties being priced about $12,000 higher, or selling about $12,000 higher in the last 12 weeks than they were 12 to 24 weeks ago, and up 4.9% on new pricing. That's almost $20,000 higher in the last 12 weeks compared to the 12 to 24 prior. Looking at that inventory, there was 514 homes that came under contract within the last week in San Bernardino County. 542 homes that sold in San Bernardino County, and 606 properties that have come on the market in San Bernardino County within that last week. Under contract overall is up 28.3%, right? 28.3%. This sold that we see here in our San Bernardino County. So if you remember it, when we looked at this last week, this was flat, right? The last 2 weeks that sold inventory had been flat. We're finally seeing this flip, which we always anticipate as under contract continues to go up. Of course, our sold inventory is going to follow. So we will continue to see this number increase as under contract stays high as well as new inventory continues to come on the market, right? As we get more inventory in, there's more opportunities to get buyers into those properties, especially as we still have, kind of a little bit of an uneven supply and demand. And so we'll see that sold number continue to increase. But right now it's up 4.8%. Finally, as we look at that new inventory coming on the market, it is up 36.5%. So a couple things that I just want to point out on these, and we'll make sure these trends are uploaded for you guys as well, my friends. As we start looking at just some of these numbers, I really want to encourage you, make sure that you are using the Seller Solutions program, right? To have and start a conversation. It's not necessarily about driving someone to move into getting an iBuyer, right? It's not going to be about making sure that they are going in and getting a whether iBuyer or the bridge program, right? But it's about coming in and bringing a solution to the table, right? As we have these conversations with sellers, we are seeing inventory numbers continue to rise week over week, which means sellers are raising their hand and they're saying, yes, I do want to sell. Yes, I do want to move forward. Right now is the opportunity that you have to have that conversation, and it's about being solution-based. The biggest challenge that most sellers are having, depending on whether they're relocating, which we're seeing some of that as well, so a little bit of that migration happening as well. The other thing that we're seeing a little bit of is they're wanting to buy another property, and they're running into what? The challenge of not being able to get their offer accepted because it's contingent. That's where we want to be able to come to the table and say, hey, Mr. Seller, what if we could offer you a solution, the bridge product, right? The bridge product where you can get 70 to 80% of your equity, so we can go put a non-contingent offer on a home while you stay and rent back the current property that you're in, right? So that's the way it works, you guys, right? Is you're able to go place a non-contingent offer on a home so that your clients have more of that competitive advantage in getting into the next property, because we know competition is fierce right now on the buyer side. And so we want to make sure that we're packaging our client to the best of their ability, to the best of our ability, make sure that we're really being able to showcase them coming in with a very strong offer. When they're able to do that, when they're able to access some of their equity, they can come in with higher cash amounts, right? Which makes them a very attractive buyer as well. And they're still able to rent back their property. We know that rent back period is approximately, can go up to a year. Of course, that's not necessarily, that's not going to be ideal, but it can go up to a year. And then upon that listing of that property, they will recoup the remaining 15 to 20%, depending on what percentage of the equity, sorry guys, was taken out of the property as well. The other option is the iBuyer program. The iBuyer program is the ability for them to get an iBuyer, that cash offer, and to essentially avoid the showing period, that listing period entirely. Oh, sorry guys. But that's going to be a little bit more geared towards that convenience, right? That convenience for the clients. Now, if you go to that listing presentation and they look at, obviously, right, being able to list on the open market is going to drive a higher price point versus something where, yes, they are paying a little bit of a premium to either have an iBuyer offer or to have the convenience of the bridge product, they can then make that educated decision. But it's about providing them with the solutions to the problems that they're currently facing. That's a great way to get in the door and have a conversation, because if a client asks, well, do you actually have a bona fide offer for me? Do you actually have something that you can bring to the table? The answer is yes, right? These are actual clients, actual iBuyers, actual bridge products that you have available at your fingertips through the KW Seller Solutions. If you don't know where to access it or you want additional training, message me, right? It's also available on our leverage page, which you guys have access to in the listing concierge section, right? In that listing concierge section. So it's just going to be really important that we're utilizing the tools that we have right now at our advantage. On the buyer side, right? On the buyer side, we want to make sure that we're having a conversation with them about how do we package those clients. If they are approved for 400, we really want to make sure that they have that understanding, right? That we're not going to go look at properties that are priced at 400. The one caveat to that I do want to point out, and this is just based on what we're seeing in the market, is going to be in the condo market. If you have a client that is looking for a condo specifically, we are seeing that condos are sitting a bit longer on the market than like a standard single family residence. So if you have a client that is looking at condos, you may have a little bit more flexibility on that pricing perspective as well. So I just wanted to go ahead and bring that up as well. I know some of you jumped on a little bit late as well. So the one thing I want to remind you is the rental assistance program, as well as the grant program that is available. So a couple things. Downey is offering a rental assistance program. I highly encourage, if you have clients in Downey, especially buyers or property owners that are maybe landlord owners as well, that you provide that resource to them for the Downey rental assistance program. Now, there are likely other cities that are also offering assistance programs. Make sure that you are taking advantage of these and you are educating your clients around them. The other thing I want to remind you about is the grant program that Los Angeles County is offering, right, for mortgage assistance, right? For mortgage assistance, you want to make sure that you are also providing those resources to your clients, that you're sharing those out. Grant programs, when they run out of money, that's it. Right? So a grant program, they set aside a certain amount of money. The sooner your clients are able to potentially get access to those programs, the better. Your networks, your resources, it's a great opportunity to reach out and have a touch, right? Reach out and have a conversation with them. The other thing I want to note for you guys, reminder to save the date for May 13th for our annual Red Day. We are going to be working with some phenomenal organizations. You guys will get a message about that today, right? Today, the ALC, our Agent Leadership Council, partnered with a great organization called TLC here in Downey, as well as a women's shelter that's local as well, so that we can really raise, supplies for these individuals to be able to contribute back and essentially give where we live. Right? Culture is the foundation of what we do. This is an absolutely phenomenal opportunity as well to reach out to your network, right? It is absolutely possible for us to fill our souls and our pockets at the same time, right? To be able to give back and make a difference in our community and still cultivate those relationships with our network. So you'll get a lot of information about that today, my friends. But with that, a lot of info today. Again, make sure you're reaching out to your clients around those grant programs, the assistance programs that are available to them, that you are utilizing that Seller Solutions program as well. I also want to remind you one change in the calendar for this month for contracts classes. I know that we're very used to having contracts on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We now at 10 a.m. We now have contracts class with Ed Wednesdays at 10, Wednesdays at 6 p.m., right, for our evening class, and Thursdays at 10 a.m. So reminder to see that change on the calendar. And last but not least, For how many of you, just show of hands, were any of you on the billionaire panel last week? Yes, I love it. That panel, I don't know how many of you had a chance to and I see some more hands raised. I love it. That was an incredible, incredible panel. I don't know about you guys. I was blown away. The caliber of the speakers were absolutely phenomenal. And I completely understand that sometimes when we listen to heavy hitters that are performing at that high a level, right? 5,400 units in a year is not a small business, right? It can sometimes be difficult to see ourselves in that world. And yet that's what the goal is, right? When Gary Keller wrote the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, he didn't say, hey, everybody now has to go run $1 million business. What he said was, these are the models and systems that will empower agents to live a big life, to achieve the goal of $1 million, if that's what they choose. What we didn't want is to go say, hey, here's the play on how to run $100,000 business. And then if you wanted to make more, you couldn't, because now you're at the models and systems of $100,000 business. And so he said, here's the models and systems of $1 million real estate business so that you can run a business at whatever level you choose, but so that you're using the models and systems that can allow somebody like Chris Suarez to go do 5,400 units a year and still have time for his family, right? Still have time for his community, for his network, still be able to go live a big life because he has the models and systems that allow us to create leverage in our business. Fair? So we're gonna do the next panel tomorrow at 1 p.m. And this one is a little bit different. This is a rookie panel, right? This is a rookie panel. So all 4 agents, it was their first year in real estate in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic. All 4 agents, the lowest income for these agents, the lowest income for these 4 is $144,000 gross commission income last year. That's a pretty big world, right? To make what if somebody comes out of maybe a corporate job, comes into real estate and is making 6 digits in their first year as a rookie by utilizing the models and systems, by utilizing the tools, right? The highest producer did $256,000 in gross commission income as a rookie agent. So that's the spread. One of them, and this is what I think is so phenomenal, and I really want you guys to have the opportunity to learn from, one of them had a full-time job. It's incredible, right? It's incredible. So this is going to be an amazing panel to have the opportunity to learn from. I will make sure, if you have not, we sent out the registration a couple times. It's on our Eventbrite page. It's also for our KW agents. It is on our KW Seller Leverage page. If you scroll right down to our featured events, it is available for you right there as well. We're really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see you guys on that panel tomorrow. With that, I hope you guys have an absolutely blessed rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Monica.
Yeah, absolutely.